I have amazing memories of growing up riding and growing up also watching my parents ride, which was a really beautiful experience.
Have the things that you learned with Brandy shaped the things that you're doing now?
When I became a mother, I felt compelled to put my story with Brandy and my connection with Brandy down on paper.
They see so many parts of you. They're like your longest relationship in some cases.
This episode is kindly brought to you by the Horse Trust.
Hello everybody, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited about this episode for you to listen. Rhi, are you okay?
I'm very excited too. We've actually just got off the phone with our guest for today. You will know who it is because you've seen the title of this episode.
We had such a cool conversation, didn't we, with Katherine Schwarzenegger, and they reached out to us because she's written a book, as you'll hear about, and it was just a really amazing conversation. She's an author, so spoke so eloquently about what is a very important topic, actually, about like inspiring young people and children with horses. And she talked about her story with her pony Brandy, and I won't spoil the conversation, but Rhi, what was your kind of feel of it all?
Well, I think Katherine, if you know Katherine and know her sort of background, has had quite an extraordinary life in her own right. And it was so interesting to just hear from her directly how horses were woven through that. She talked about her horse Cinco and how he was in every stage of her life. And that was it really resonated with me, that did. And I think also we're in such what can feel like a very tumultuous time in the equestrian industry right now. And we often, Miri and I, end up focusing, without meaning to, but maybe trying to focus on the good, but ending up pulling up some of the things that we don't like. And just how wonderful to have someone who's creating a legacy for the next generation of not just seeing horses as like a tool for competition or a rosette machine, but actually really tapping into what it is to be around horses and what she described as the spiritual energy and the spiritual connection that we can have with horses. And it was such a lovely conversation. I felt very, very lucky to have her, and I'm really excited for you to hear it.
Absolutely. How have you been? Before we get into the conversation, how have you been? How are things? How's Harley boy?
Oh my gosh, Harley is feeling great this week. So he obviously had his growth spurt, and I think I've gotten really used to this happening now where he's like doesn't feel as good for a couple of weeks or is growing and we back off, and now he's just come back this week feeling amazing. We had a really great lesson with my coach. We were doing sort of suppling exercises and we had these jump wings we were going in and out of and doing shallow loops and stuff, and he just felt so happy and up for it. And I took him hacking with a friend this morning and he felt really relaxed, and even though the weather's like really windy. And we also last weekend did our first ever hunter trial, which I briefly mentioned with Nikki, but I didn't really go into the day. But I was so proud when I got the pictures, which are on my Instagram. I almost cried because I was like, I've wanted to do this for my whole life, and it was such a huge step for me in terms of outside of my comfort zone. And like for the first few jumps, I think I just wasn't really my brain hadn't really caught up with my body, and I was a bit like, oh my god, we're going cross country, everything's going really fast. And I had this moment where I'd had a couple of stops, and the jump coming up after was an owl hole, and then we had 2 jumps going downhill, and then we had a ditch, and then we had water, and I was like, right, you're gonna have to sit up and ride. And it was amazing because as I was cantering along and saying this to myself, I was like, okay, you're going to sit up, put your leg on, look above the jump. And Harley just suddenly went, great. He like rose underneath me as if to be like, if you're okay, I'm okay. Let's go. And then we just had this amazing rest of the round. And I just got a real glimpse into how our relationship could look as we build and as I get more confident. It was just 10 out of 10, no notes. I had a great time.
Love that. Did you get a cheesy chip after?
I didn't actually, but I did get.
You had a bacon sandwich, didn't you?
I did have a bacon sandwich.
Rhi and I, we don't talk about this. Let's move on.
How was your week?
Well, today I actually had a really bonkers day, and I think so. We'll talk about this in the conversation. You'll hear us talking about it, but I think Blondie is my horse that is here to remind me of what it is to have a horse. I think they all are, but she shoves it in your face if you forget. And today, we have this amazing lady called Davina, and she is a shiatsu massage specialist. And I don't know if you've ever had shiatsu massage, but it's kind of bonkers. I actually have experienced, she learnt how to treat humans after she learnt how to treat horses, because she understood the power of treating the rider and the horse, or the owner and the horse. And I've had a few sessions with her, and you do actually feel like you're made of like custard afterwards, like jellified. And Blondie finds shiatsu massage quite affronting because it's very energetic. It's like really about like how the energy flows through the body. It's very traditional Chinese medicine vibes. And Davina has not been able to treat Blondie because Blondie has said, no, this is too much for me. And I came to an awareness today that Blondie will let me touch her, but she won't let me feel her. And the way that I was shown is a lot about, you have like a mother hand and then a moving hand, and the mother hand is like the grounding hand, and the other hand is sort of feeling or moving energy or moving things. And when you really tune into it, I could feel all sorts of really interesting things, like hot and cold spots on Blondie.
Oh.
And I don't know totally what that means, but I stuck at the cold spots and then moved as like energy shifted and stuff. But one of the most interesting things was, and Davina has found this when she has done some work with Blondie, because Blondie would let her treat her head, for example, but not any further back than that. I felt desperately anxious when I was doing this with Blondie. Now, I'd been feeling good prior, and then I put my hands on her, and it was like a wave hit me, and I really felt it all in my stomach, in my solar plexus, like up in my sternum. And I did a lot of work just feeling it, just accepting it, and really like letting it happen. And it was pretty bonkers. And Blondie initially was really unhappy about me doing it. And I'm just putting my hands on her body. And the interesting thing is like I said, I can touch Blondie all over. I can run my hands all over her. But when I started to like sit with the energy, she was like, this is too much. And she squealed at me, kicked out at me, like, really loud. She is very loud with what she has to say, and we're not really doing any work at the moment, and I've really let myself off the hook with having to do stuff because I know that she's not been feeling like 100%. She hacks when she wants to hack, but she doesn't if she doesn't want to. And afterwards, I did a lot, and she got to a place where she was like head on the floor, licking, chewing, like really in a very zen place. And she would like shift a hind leg, rest, and then do the same, shake her head, lick and chew. Like she was obviously really, we were doing some work together. And the shifting of the anxiety left. I didn't hold it so much in my body. And then I came out of the stable, and I was talking to Davina, and she was treating Zora in the stable next door. It was really cool. It was like this kind of coaching session. And I just started yawning, and my eyes were streaming. And I was like, wow, like this was...
You've been treated.
It was really cool, and it was a reminder, and this ties in really well to the conversation we're about to have. But it was that reminder of like how energetic that connection with a horse can be. Just being with them, just touching their body, just tuning in. What can you feel? What could I notice? What was hot? What was cold? What was shifting? What was comfortable? It was magical, and I think. Yeah, Blondie is maybe my Brandy.
I love it.
So yeah.
I do. I always said that I wouldn't do this, and I think this is actually a really nice signal for anyone who's grieving the loss of a horse. I when I lost Woody, I was like, "There's no way I can love like that again. Like I just can't do it. I haven't got capacity. I don't want to. Blah blah blah." But I'm at the point where I look at Harley now, and I just like, I love him so much that like it makes my heart feel like it's going to burst out of my chest. Like I just, I just think they are, she says it, they are magical. They really are. And sometimes it's not a rhyme or reason thing. Like, you can't rationalize your way around it. And we've talked about this before, and this is getting a bit woo-woo, but we've talked about horses in history, like going back, we're talking like a really long time now, like thousands of years, and how horses and man have kind of, and women have kind of walked alongside one another, and like what that means for us as modern day people. I mean, I'm not explaining it very well, but like, just sometimes I think about that, and I think about the relationship that we have, a bit like people and dogs, I suppose. And sometimes, you just look at a horse and you feel that those thousands of years of partnership and energy coming together in a really, I don't know, profound way. I don't know if it's just me that feels that sometimes.
I'm gonna go even more woo than this.
Go on.
I think I knew Blondie before.
Oh.
And I have
previous lives.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean,
yeah.
I really do. And people can think I'm mental if they want. That's absolutely fine. Welcome to the crazy party. But I had this bonkers thing that happened. Was I found somebody to build my website, my current website, quite a while ago now. This wonderful girl called Eleanor Vertigan, and if you need someone to build your website, she's phenomenal because she is very good at what she does. Anyway, she said, oh, I might like to pick your brain at some point. I've got this complicated horse. And I said, oh, okay, absolutely. I'd happily trade some time, or just give her a hand, basically. Anyway, we started having this conversation. She said, so what she told me that X, Y, and Z. And I was like, hang on a minute, what do you mean? She's like, oh, well, I'm a communicator. And I was like, sorry, you've just spent 6 months building my website, and now I'm finding out that actually you're an animal communicator. She was like, well, yeah. And we've been besties ever since. And we've done some amazing work. And I don't reach out to her and ask her to do a reading for you, because I think she's focusing very much on her website building stuff at the moment. But there have been some amazing moments where her and I have tuned in, and she has done a communication with Blondie, and Blondie has shown her 2 past lives that her and I have had together. And people are probably logging off the podcast left, right, and centre right now, but that's okay.
Stop it.
But one where we were like native together, so where we were like living with a campfire. There was a campfire involved, and I didn't ride her, she was part of my herd. And then another where she was not a horse, where she was a human. And she said she said things like, Miriam's always been looking for answers all her life.
She's so sage.
She is. And she said, I was never able to meet her. I wasn't able to meet her in one of the lives. I just had to watch and see what she did. And I just go with it in these moments, because I'm like, okay, I feel like I knew her before. She's the horse that came back. She's the, and I think every horse walks into everyone's lives for a reason. And sometimes we can't, it can't be, for a long time, or sometimes that horse has to go again, and sometimes we're not ready for the lessons that we receive with that horse. But I really believe that. And I think what Katherine talks about the spirit that we, when we come back in tune with that spirit with our horses, like you have it so nailed, Rhi, because you are still that little girl who wanted a pony, who won those rosettes that are behind you, and hearing your experience of you going around that hunter trial just is the epitome of joy.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I adore that story, by the way. And even if you don't believe in, even if you're not spiritual and everything, let's take it one level up at this most basic level. Next time you're around a horse, just slow it down by like 2 times and just see what happens. Because I promise you, these animals, they are literally built to notice stuff. They are built to notice body language of their herd, which means when you slow down and you relax, they will notice you as well. I saw the most amazing Instagram the other day. I think I sent it to you from, I really want to credit her because she's pretty
Alice.
cool, actually.
Bodywork with Alice.
Bodywork with Alice. And she's doing, I didn't know what it was. I've never heard of this before, but she does this thing called energy bodywork. And I kid you not, it's an unbelievable video. She stood with this horse and it's actually undeniable. Like, you cannot watch that video and be like, nothing is happening. It's so weird. Like, she's standing with this horse and she kind of explains what she's doing. She like invites him to accept the energy, whatever. And then she's just doing stuff and she's not touching him, but this horse is reacting in like such, it's
A
like
tangible
such
way.
specific, reaction. I was just like, this is wild. And like I said, even if you're not spiritual and you don't believe in energy, you cannot deny the fact that horses are literally built to recognize body language. And they do. And if you tap into that, you will have a very cool experience.
When people tell me that they don't believe in energy, I literally ask them how they think Bluetooth works or like phones. It's all energy.
Everything is energy. Yeah.
Literally. You know, they've worked out how to literally send information through the ether to another thing without them touching, without a cable, whatever. Energy. All energy.
Energy.
And I remember I went on an amazing breathwork workshop a long time ago, a while back, and the guy talked about how we have like something in us that is breathing for us. Like, you don't have to think about your heart beating or breathing. You can think about breathing and you can change it, but that you can't stop. You know, there is something that will keep you breathing until the last breath. And when we remember those things, when we tune back into those things, like you're saying, when we remember that connection, we remember the body language, we remember the way that the world actually goes round, life is like way more peaceful and so much more about love and just acceptance and joy and all of those things. And I just think, this is a good reminder of that, I think.
Before we dive in with Katherine, I'm going to take a moment to thank the Horse Trust, the season sponsor of this podcast. And the focus today is equine obesity. This is now one of the biggest welfare concerns facing horses in the UK today. And whether you're a weekend hacker or a show competitor, the Horse Trust, working alongside vets and the University of Liverpool, have created Way to Win to help all of us recognise what healthy condition really looks like. And this isn't about judgment or guilt. It's about helping our horses live longer, happier and sounder lives. And here's the exciting bit. This December at the International Horse Show, the Horse Trust will crown the very first Way to Win champions, celebrating exhibitors who've kept their horses at a healthy weight throughout the competition season, because good welfare and good competition absolutely go hand in hand. Want to learn more? Head to horsetrust.org.uk/way to win to discover the programme, read real stories and find out how you can get involved. Healthy horses, healthier herds. That's the Way to Win way. Back to the podcast. Katherine, thank you so much for joining us for this Equestrian Life. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it.
So we're going to paint a picture for you. Just before we started recording, Katherine joined. She's about to go riding. So horse girl through and through. We love it and we're so happy to have you. So before we dive into your book, tell us a little bit about you and your horsey background, because horses have been part of your life forever, really, haven't they?
Yeah, for sure. They've been part of my life forever. I mean, I was born into both my parents being equestrians in their own way and horseback riding already. So I think I've been at the barn literally since birth. I have amazing memories of growing up riding and growing up also watching my parents ride, which was a really beautiful and fun thing to be able to have as my background and my kind of experience with horses and also around horses. And then right from the beginning, my mom and dad put me on a horse with them, which of course I'm sure now everybody would say is like not safe. But, I grew up like riding right in front of them on their horses. And then as I got a little bit bigger, I'd be put on their horses by myself and also ponies and things like that. So I have horses all around me for as long as I can remember, and developed my own interest in doing it, separate from my parents as I kind of got older and more comfortable around horses, and really loved just being around them and also grooming them and just like taking care of them. It's probably like my oldest child uh, role in my family's life. I was very into like caretaking and just, making sure the horses were taken care of. And then it really wasn't until I met Brandy, which is who this book is about, that I felt comfortable and confident enough to take riding to a more serious level. And I think that for a lot of people, it takes that, bond or connection with a special horse that takes you into, horseback riding, jumping, showing for so many people. And yeah, and I've been doing it ever since. So I love it.
Can you tell us a bit about the characters in the book? Because I think I would love to hear a bit about Brandy and like kind of what was so special in those early days.
So Brandy really came into my life very unexpectedly. As I said, I grew up riding, but I was thrown off so many times by, different ponies, and my parents would put me right back on the horse again. And, so I wasn't afraid of them, and I loved it, but I didn't have this like desire to, jump and really take horseback riding very seriously. I was very into, like, as I said, caretaking of the horses and just being in their presence. I found to be very soothing and therapeutic for me from a very early age. And when I met Brandy, she wasn't even in the vicinity for me at all. I just found her to be very interesting because she had this big scar on her face, very much like the, cover of the book. And she was just very interesting to me. And so I, slowly but surely kind of warmed up to her. She warmed up to me. She was known for being a very skittish horse, not super calm or safe. And she had come to the barn with a past and a history that wasn't the best. And so through a lot of time and patience, we grew to trust one another, and it grew into this really beautiful relationship and connection where I felt comfortable enough to start riding at a different level and trying new things that really used to scare me. So it was with her, my connection with her and earning her trust, that I felt comfortable to work through my fears. And that's really what this book is all about. It's about a little girl who comes into, the book with fears of horseback riding, and through her earning the trust of Brandy and Brandy earning the trust of Kat, they're able to accomplish fears and conquer fears together and tap into their inner bravery. And it also really shines a light for me on the healing power of animals, and, whether that's, animals big and small, just the presence of animals in our lives is such a huge gift. And I think I really benefited from such a profound bond and relationship with Brandy growing up. And I think anybody in the horse world definitely can resonate with that, because horses just have this ability to be in touch with your feelings and emotions in a totally unique way that we can't get from human to human interaction. It's really just so specific to horses and animals in general. And so, you don't have to have a horse in your life necessarily to have that connection, but just the presence of an animal and a connection with an animal to help you navigate and work through those fears is really what this story is about.
I love this. And I think you're in very good company here with people who completely resonate with, one, that first pony or horse who allowed them to go to the next level, and two, enjoying the company of horses and what they do for us. On that note, what was it about this moment in time that made you want to write the book now? I mean, Miri and I talk a lot about how, I don't know how it feels in the US, but certainly in the UK, it's felt very turbulent in the equestrian space lately. There's been a lot of things that have come out that are not so nice, particularly in the top competition world. And when we heard about your book, it just felt so opposite to that and so lovely. So, I mean, what was the moment for you that you were like, this is the time for this now?
I mean, to be honest with you, I've been trying to figure out a way to celebrate and honor my bond that I had with Brandy growing up in so many different ways. And I felt that when I became a mother and spent so much time reading books to my children and also seeing their interest in animals and their natural connection with animals, especially horses, develop as they got older, they're 5 years old and 3 years old now, and then I also have a baby. But I felt compelled to put my story with Brandy and my connection with Brandy down on paper. And it really has changed, how I view books, how I view storytelling by having my children and also spending a lot of time reading books with them. And it was important to me to honor my connection that I had with Brandy and the benefits that I experienced from my bond with her. And also to be able to tell that in a story that was a positive message for children of overcoming your fears, being afraid of something, working through those fears, not allowing a fear to, paralyze you or freeze you from doing something that you want to be able to do. And also how much an animal in your life can help you work through that. I know that there's obviously, as you guys are aware, such a huge space in equine therapy and also just emotional support animals in general. For me, I look back and I feel like I really had an unintentional course in equine therapy growing up because it allowed me to have this sense of confidence in myself and confidence in working through things that scared me. And I got that really from my experience at the barn and my experience of earning Brandy's trust, my experience of doing things that used to scare me and working through those things and being able to then go apply it to all different areas of my life. So it was important to me to put that out there because I want to read my children books that have positive messages in them and also that spark natural conversations that, we read the book and they say, oh, I'm scared of something just like Kat's scared of something. Oh, she can work through a fear and try something that scared her. Now I can go and conquer my fears. So the goal is really to have kids read this book and feel that they are seen in the story of Kat and Brandy, and also that they feel inspired to go work through their fears. And it doesn't have to be a fear of a horse. It can be a fear of doing the monkey bars, of making friends, of riding a bicycle, like whatever that fear is, but that they just feel like, oh, okay, she could do it. I can do it too. And that's really the goal. And then also to just allow a space of conversation with a parent and a child or a caregiver and a child reading this book to have natural prompts and ways to bring up conversations around being afraid of something and around bravery and courage and animals. And those are all the different things that I kept in mind when writing this book in a very specific way. And also to make it, of course, entertaining for children with the illustrations and things like that.
Yeah, we saw your Instagram story yesterday about your, I think it was your older daughter who had been carrying around the dummy version of the book with the outside, and then you were off with the baby, and she was like, "I've read the book, Mummy. It's very good.
I know.
I like the pictures."
Yeah, I've had the dummy version of the book, because the actual version has been at the printer. And so I actually finally got the real version of the book. And when I went into the other room, I was like all excited to show it to both of my daughters. Like the inside is now actually the real book on the inside with real pictures. And she was like, Mom, I read your book. It's really great. It's really great. The pictures are really great, Mommy. I was like, thank you. So she really responded to the images. And it was, the illustrator, Petra Brown, for this book really did such a great job, I think, for any of us who love horses and also have grown up around horses. It was important to me that the illustrations be ones that were really, imaginative and really captured the kind of whimsical presence of horses. And I think she did a really great job at doing that because, horses are so magical anyway. So to be able to capture their magic and their beauty and just their presence in images, especially for children, was really important to me. And I think she did a really good job at that.
Let's talk about something we don't always discuss in the equestrian world. Weight. Not ours, but our horses. It's easy to lose track, especially when a little extra condition seems like a sign of good care. But the reality is, more horses today are overweight than underweight, and that's leading to serious health issues like laminitis and metabolic syndrome. That's why the Horse Trust, in partnership with Beaver and the University of Liverpool, launched Way to Win. This brilliant initiative is all about recognising, rewarding and supporting healthy horses across the UK, no matter what level you compete at or if you've never set foot in the show ring. And here's what makes me so excited. This year marks a real milestone. The first ever Way to Win Championship is happening at the London International Horse Show this December, proving that fit and healthy will always beat fat and flashy. Whether you're a grassroots rider or a seasoned competitor, this programme helps us all learn together. Visit horsetrust.org.uk/way to win to get involved. Share your horse's healthy journey and join the movement, because the best kind of win, it's when your horse is healthy.
Katherine, can you tell us a bit about your horsey life now? Like, what does a typical day at the barn look like? Have the things that you learned with Brandy shaped the things that you're doing now?
For sure. I mean, I think everything I learned in my connection with Brandy and my experience with her has translated over into my life every single day in so many different areas, and especially with how I interact with animals and horses. I think it gave me a totally different level of compassion and empathy in the presence of animals that, we all come into one another's lives with pasts and stories. And I don't think I really fully understood that until I had my interaction with Brandy. And so I would say that I have a little spider right there. I would say
coming
that
into your life there.
I know they're coming around. I would say that, I developed an even deeper love for being in the presence of animals and horses after my journey with Brandy, and I try to have that be a part of my life today as much as possible. I get to the barn several days a week, which is really special and I absolutely love. And also to see my daughters love their experience at the barn, and just to also watch both of them have different experiences. Like, they both feel totally comfortable and love being in the presence of horses. But my younger daughter is very into like taking care of all of the tack and polishing all of the tack right now at 3 years old. And then my older daughter is very into like getting her posting perfect and, leading the horses herself. And then my younger one will do the same thing of making sure that the horses are fed and that their meals are made. So they are each kind of blossoming in their own way, and to see them feel so comfortable and confident around horses at such a young age is really amazing for me. And then to be able to all three of us ride together is so special and something that I've always looked forward to and dreamt of. So to have it happening right now is extra special. When I got too tall for Brandy because she was a pony, I started riding a horse named Cinco, and 3 days ago we had to put Cinco down, and it was such an end of a chapter for me because he lived to be 33 years old, which anyone who knows horses is like, that's a very long time. And he lived such an amazing life. But for me, what was even more incredible was all the different chapters of my life that he was present for. I started riding him at 11 years old. I'm 35 years old now, and he's witnessed me in so many different phases and iterations of life. And I've always found his presence to be so healing and calming. And I think anyone who has experience around horses can go right in their mind to a horse that provided them with that space of feeling unconditionally loved and accepted and seen in all different phases of life and all different chapters of the highest highs and the lowest lows. And I really had that with Cinco. And he, met all three of my children. He was present in my life for all different iterations of my life and who I am. And so it was a real kind of closing of a chapter to me that, obviously is a really sad one, but also one that caused me to reflect a lot on what I went to Cinco for, what I felt with him, and also my hopes for what that similar vibe and energy that my girls can find one day with a horse. So yeah, it's an amazing thing that's constantly changing and evolving.
Yeah, I read your post about him on Instagram, and it was so it was heartbreaking, but it was also really heartfelt. And the images that you shared, like you said, there were so many phases of your life that we got to
Yeah.
see. And I think that really resonates with me, and I'm sure with Miri, because Miri has had, a few horses that have lived to a really good age. And like you said, they see so many parts of you. They're like your longest relationship in some cases, and that's such a lovely way to put it. I think that's really nice, actually. Yeah.
It's interesting because, and again, I love all animals, but we think of all of these animals and so many of them don't get to live as long as a horse lives, because a horse can really live a very long time. And so for me to be able, like my sister and my brothers and both of my parents, it's like to really think back, like when I was looking back at pictures of even my youngest brother who would come to horse shows with me and help me, drive the golf cart around from arena to arena, and my sister who would help me lead Cinco around. You really look back and you're like, wow, this horse has been around, like for my brother, since he was 4 years old, and now he's 27 or 28 years old. So it's really covers such a huge span of your life. And I look back and I'm like, my parents, they were together, married when I got Cinco. I was, in sixth grade when I got him, and just to see how he's been a part of so many different seasons of my life. Um, is really incredible. And it's so rare that you have that with an animal, because so many don't get to live as long as that. So I feel so grateful for my time with him. And then also it's sad because it's, the closing of a chapter. And then I look at now the fact that I'm a parent, and I look at my kids being interested in animals and horseback riding. And I'm like, what a gift that was for me to be able to have. And the ability to go to Cinco when I felt, sad, happy, excited, needing to be calm. It's, your hope as a parent that your kids also find a space or the presence of an animal that provides them with that as well.
So, Katherine, I have a question that I ask
Mhm.
everybody in the podcast. And the question is, if you could say one thing to every equestrian and they had to listen, what would it be?
Let me think. What would it be to every question? I mean, I truly feel that horses are the most spiritual and in tune beings on this earth. And I feel like they have the power to tap into your emotions and how you're feeling and what you need more of in your life, more than any other animal that I myself have experienced, and also any other human that I've interacted with. And so I would tell any equestrian to really tap into that and allow space for that. I think there are so many people, and I know that the equestrian world has so many different levels of, it being a business for some people, and then, on a different level, it being just a place that they feel loved and accepted, being in the presence of a horse, and don't even necessarily ride a horse, but just being and feeling their energy. And I really think that no matter what level of engagement in the equestrian space you have, allowing space for the spiritual part of being in the presence of a horse, to not do that would be to give yourself such a great disservice. And to really allow space for that, if you're showing at a really high level, if you're not showing at all and you're just in the presence of them, just allowing space for that, because what you will feel and benefit from that, and also what your horse will benefit from that, is unlike anything you'll ever experience in your life. And I think, like, for me, I can say that to you guys because I think that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I always, shared that bond with my mom because she grew up riding and she had that connection, as some people call your heart horse,
Hmm.
with her childhood pony growing up. And I think that anyone who doesn't allow space for that, it's a shame. And so I think just like even being in the presence of a horse and just being quiet, you'll see how they tune into you and they connect with you. And I've experienced it so many times in my life in the presence of a horse. And so I I just always tell that to people, whether they're an equestrian or not, is just allowing space for the spirituality of a horse.
I think, having not even read Cat and Brandy, I get a real feeling that this is a book that I think adults could really gain something from as well, as a reminder of why we do this. We're all Cat and Brandy, really, aren't we? You know, we all have that. I remember the first pony that I learnt to love. His name was Flash, and he lived till he was 36. And, you know, it's that reminder of why do we do this? Like you just said, you know, that reminder back to that little girl or that little boy who loved a pony first of all. And actually, when we come back to that, we kind of find the joy again in it all. Like you say, those people competing at a high level or doing it for business, actually, we were probably all that little person once. And that's really wonderful. I really look forward to reading it, Kat. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been a real honour to have you and to hear your story.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so grateful to come on here and to talk about something that I'm so passionate about and that I know you guys share a passion for. And I think just even having a podcast like yours that just shines a light on the amazing worlds of equestrian and also talks about the benefits of being in the world of equestrian from two people like yourselves who know what an incredible gift it is to have that in your life, and also, you know, doing it in such a positive way is so amazing. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Kat. We will share links for people can follow you, and also share links they can find your book in time for Christmas.
Thank you.
And enjoy your horse ride. We'll be keeping up with the Instagram to figure out, you know, to keep watching what you're up to. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.